Well, welcome to another edition of our Summer Search for God. And today we're talking about navigating your life. It's summertime, everybody likes to get outside, to go for hikes or orienteer, to decide to go to a place and then get there safely. It's that we make goals. We make a goal to where we want to go, to have fun, to either have a picnic, a reward of some kind. You know, being a follower of Jesus Christ is all about having a goal, isn't it? About having many goals along the way, but there's ultimately one goal in following God. One big goal, and that is where we're going to be at the end of our journey. Heaven, in fact. So today in our Summer Search for God and navigating our life, we're going to actually go on a hike together right now. And we're going to choose a goal, and we're going to get there. It's just like your life and my life. And one thing that you need to do if you're going to go on this journey of life is you've got to choose your goal, yes, but you've also got to figure out where you are. Because even though you might have chosen your goal, I want to go to heaven. Okay, that's great, but where are you right now, right today? And that's the reason you're going to need, well, a map. And I've got one right here for myself and for us for our hike here. And this is just a topographical map of the area. And of course, I've got my compass, so I'm going to be able to orient myself. First thing I'm going to be able to do is find where I am on this map, where we are, and we're going to be able to find, well, where we want to go. And with my compass, and with the map, we're going to be able to point ourselves. We're going to be able to make and view what we need to look at while we walk, and we're going to get there. Don't worry, we're going to get there. You know, in our life, there's a map as well, right? It's the Bible. Listen, I get it. There's some people who feel like using the analogy that the Bible is a map for your life is not a good analogy. And I understand that because their argument is that the Bible isn't as detailed as a topographical map. The Bible is a little bit more open-ended. It doesn't give you every exact step that you need to take, every exact command that you need in your life. It gives an overarching view of life, right? And I understand when they make that argument. Actually, I agree with it. But for our purposes today, in our lesson, we're going to reference that the Bible is a map for us. It's a guide, especially when you consider and put into the context that we've chosen a goal and we want to get to it. The Bible is really good for that. You know, Jesus was all about talking about heaven as our ultimate eternal goal. And also, he was about talking about the goals along the way. So the Bible is a pretty good map for us to navigate through our life and find where we want to go. And then also, the Bible is really good as a map and showing us where we are right now. And remember I said, if you can't figure out where you are on a map, you're not going to make it to where you want to go. And that's where the Bible really does stand and shine. As we start off today, I want you to listen to this. We're going to go on a hike, but the most important part of this hike today is the scriptures we're going to read. In Colossians chapter 3, it says this, "Therefore, if you've been raised with Christ, keep seeking things above." Keep searching, in other words. Keep focused. Sounds like a hike with a goal, and you've got to know where you're going. So if you've been raised with Christ, keep seeking the things above where Christ is, seated at the right hand of God. Keep thinking about things above, not things on the earth. For you died, and your life is hidden with Christ in God. When Christ, who is your life, who is your map, appears, then you too will be revealed in glory with him. So as we begin our hike today, as we begin our journey today, just remember it's a lot like your life, and it's a lot like my life. We don't know exactly what we're going to stumble through in this journey. We don't know exactly what bumps or turns we're going to have to take, but we've chosen a goal. And when you do, you keep your eyes on that and you keep moving forward in that same direction all the time. You've got your map for our purposes today. The big thing, the most important thing, is that you actually have to use your map when you're out in a place like this. A lot of people walk around with their maps in their backpacks or their maps in their GPS phones, and they never actually use them. Doesn't do you much good, does it? So go ahead, pull out your map today as we go on a journey, not just to walk through this wilderness we're in right now, but the journey for our lives. You know, this hike is a lot like our life, really. It's, well, sometimes it's a lot of hard work. Some days it's just really beautiful. And usually, most often, there's always some little irritating things that happen. When you're out in the wilderness, those little irritating things are called bugs. There's always bugs. And that's the exciting part, I guess, some people would say, about hiking, but a lot of us really don't like bugs, and for good reason. Because bugs are, well, I guess that's why they call them bugs. They're buggy. They irritate us. But more to the point, some bugs can be really dangerous to us, and they can carry disease. They can come to us. I mean, you think by virtue of what a bug is, right? And you can't really get mad at a bug. The mosquito, she's quite innocent. She's just working for her kids. She wants to get a blood meal off of you and help her family out. Of course, you don't appreciate it, because if she does that, well, now you've got an itchy spot for at least 3 days, or worse. There's some disease and some toxic substances that she can put into your system. Or in this area that we have ticks as well. And ticks are these sort of creepy little arachnid type of creatures that are on the grass. You don't have to really be scared of them if you know how to repel them. So just like our life as we're followers of Christ and we're hiking towards our goal, trying to get to heaven, there's lots of little bugs along the way, and you just have to be prepared for it. Now, what's the easiest thing to do when you're hiking is just get some repellent, right? Spray this on, and this is going to help you repel the things that are trying to bite you, take your precious commodity, blood, and even insert into you some kind of disease. James chapter 4, verse 7 tells us this. Now, this is not about hiking, this is about our life. Submit yourself to God. Do that, submit yourself to God, and the devil, he will flee from you. There's another word that can be used there. The devil will be repelled. The devil will stay away. Just like we apply something that will repel the bugs that come at us on hikes and on our journey out in the wilderness, there's ways that you can repel the bugs that come at you at life. And of course, in Galatians chapter 5, it names a lot of those bugs, right? The anger that can come, just kind of out of nowhere, just like the mosquitoes, kind of come out of nowhere and attack for no reason. Anger, hatred, discord, rage, jealousy, the lusts of life. All of these things we never totally see coming, but they come. And sometimes they come in swarms in our life, in our journey, in our hike. Just keep in mind, there is a repellent. So I guess the question for you is, I'm hiking out here and you're hiking with me today, but you're hiking and journeying through your own life. What's some repellent that you need to be applying today? What are some things that are coming at you that want to take a blood meal, a spiritual blood meal from you, make you not feel all that great after it's all over, leave you kind of itching, rashed spiritually, or worse, in a really unhealthy condition? So take this stuff seriously. You need to repel the bugs that are coming at you in life. Think Galatians 5, think James chapter 4, and think this is one of the ways that's so important for you to reach your goal. Since this is our summer search for God and we're navigating our life in this hike. You know, hiking is so much like life. It's really enjoyable. You get to see lots of really great stuff, but also it's not always easy. And you kind of have to walk through trails and even blaze your own trails. And then every once in a while you come across something, well, like this. Here's a perfectly good trail, a trail that a lot of people are using, a trail that looks wide and comfortable to walk on. That's kind of the trail I'd like to be on right now, because I've been walking on not a very good trail. I've been making my own trail. I've been alone in life in this hike. Look at all the people that are going this way. You know, when you're out hiking in the wild, you'll come across trails like this all the time, and they're really tempting. People have made this one. Every once in a while you'll come across trails that animals make. And they're tempting as well, because you think to yourself, well, maybe if I get on that trail, it'll be easier for me and I'll get to where I'm going. But you always have to remember, when you're out hiking, you're going for a goal. You always have to remember, in your life, you're going for a goal, aren't you? Follower of Jesus, you're going for a goal. And so these trails, although attractive, aren't going to be what you want, probably. Now, I just checked my map. I got my map and my compass out, and I know I'm going in the right direction already. So there's one more map we should check when we come in life to these kind of nice, big, comfortable trails. And that is this map right here. Now, I'm going to go over to Matthew chapter 7. And in Matthew chapter 7, in verse 13, Jesus talks about, well, gates, paths, roads, trails like this. And he says this: "Enter through the narrow gate, because the gate is wide and the way is spacious that leads to destruction. And there are many who enter through it." Well, there's my first clue here. "How narrow is the gate and difficult is the way that leads to life, and there are just a few who find it." Then he goes on, he talks about that we should watch out for false prophets. And the reason he says that is because you're going to have a lot of people that come along and prophesy and say, you don't need to walk on the hard stuff. You don't need to do the hard stuff of life. Take the easy path. Lots of people have gone before. It's an easier way for you to go. But you've got to decide, where am I going again? Always remember, where am I going? Remember, this is our summer search for God, and we're navigating our life. Where do you want to go? Look, in your life, it's not as easy as hiking. You're going to come across all kinds of game trails and paths that look very attractive, and you'll even think to yourself in a tempting way, maybe I should go that way. But a lot of times they're going to lead you not towards your goal, and you know this, but they're going to lead you away. And you're going to get even more lost and frustrated. And so although it is frustrating to walk on the unbroken path, God says, trust me, stay with me, stay on that narrow way, and you are going to be rewarded. So when you're out hiking, don't always take the easy paths, not if you know where you're going. And when you're living life for God, the same thing applies. Don't take those easy paths. You know you've got many of them. You come up to a path, is this the career I should choose, or isn't it? You come up to another person, is this the person I should marry? Are they a respecter of God? Do they really follow God, or do they just say they do? All these choices we have to make. Just got to make the right one. And you can always make the right one if you remember with your map, where am I going? That's not the way I'm going. Looks great, but I'm not interested. This is the way I'm going. So let's keep going, shall we? We want to get to our goal. That's what this is all about. So hiking in life, it's all about reaching the goal. And if everything is about that goal, when it comes to God, you know that the big goal, the ultimate goal, is that we make it to heaven. That we end our life well, that we end our life in God's grace, and we enjoy the rest of eternity with Him. There's an overarching theme in the scriptures where God just continually repeats how He wants to be with us. The message is always being sent He wants for us to be together to reach the goal and be united in that way. But there's a little bit more as well. Along our hike, we're actually supposed to notice things. Notice them and appreciate them. Along our life, the same thing's supposed to happen. We're supposed to appreciate the things that are good, beautiful, noteworthy. We're supposed to value, count blessings. In John chapter 10 and verse 10, Jesus says this, and this is the tension. Listen to this. He says, I have come that they may have life and have it to the full. So there's more that Jesus is talking about. Of course, Jesus is all about that end goal. He's all about heaven. Read the book of Revelation. It's all about that. But there's more. This life now, this journey now, this hike now, your days now, they're supposed to be lived in appreciation, lived to the fullest that they can be lived. And so I guess the question for us is this: are you really appreciating what's around you? And there's so much to see, isn't there? But if you're not a person who looks for the good, you know statistically you're probably not going to see it. If you're not able to count blessings, you're not going to be grateful and appreciate all that God has done. If you're not able to look around and say, even that tree, or that leaf, that bird you just heard, that's astounding. If you can't say that, if you can't see that, you're missing out on an important part of your journey. You're missing out on the important part of navigation. So, as we go, and as you go, and as I go, can you do this? Can you really start looking more around and seeing the life, the full life that Jesus is giving presently right here as we reach our goal for eternal life as well? So let's keep going that way in our walk. Well, this is a surprise. Every hike, like every life, has surprises in it, obstacles, things that you didn't plan for, and we have arrived at one here right now. There's a body of water, there's a lake here that we didn't know exactly was going to be here, and that's kind of discouraging when that happens. This is, in life, this is the unknown, right? You're going through life and all of a sudden you get a diagnosis. You're going through life, all of a sudden you get some really bad news. You're going through life. This lake represents losing your job, losing a dream or a career. This lake represents lost love, friends that were supposed to be that never were. All of these things that really throw us off, bad health, etc. And we don't know what to do when we come to them. There's a couple options when you come to a big obstacle like this in your hike. And there's some ideas that we have when we come to big obstacles in life, right? One is just sit down and quit. Just give up. And I suppose you could do that, but think about it. Think about if I just quit right now. I'm not anywhere. I'm halfway through. I can't stay here for the rest of my life. Although it's pretty right now, eventually it's not going to be. So giving up is not an option. Another option we have is just, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to go right through this obstacle. I'm just going to plow my way through it. I'm just going to tough it out. Well, I'm going to run down. I'm going to swim across this thing. And I suppose some of us could grit it out, white knuckle it, swim across. But you're going to lose all the possessions that you take with you. You're certainly going to lose this in the water. That's not necessarily going to be a good thing when you get to the other side. And then, of course, there's the idea of going around. So I'm going to read a scripture from James chapter 1. And this is important for us to think about if or when you come to your obstacle. My brothers and sisters, consider it nothing but joy when you fall into all sorts of trials, because you know that the testing of your faith produces endurance. And let endurance have its perfect effect, so that you will be perfect and complete, not deficient in anything. Consider it joy when you suffer trials. Consider it joy when you come up on big obstacles. Look, that's not a natural reaction. But if you're out hiking and you come up on an obstacle, it's okay. This obstacle, we are going that way, but this obstacle is going to make us go around. It's going to send us off course. If anything in your life comes your way and it's sending you off course, do yourself a favor, tell yourself this: I do have to go that way right now, but I'm keeping my focus, I'm keeping my eye, I've got my map, my compass, I know where I still need to go. So if I have to go that way a little bit, I'm keeping my eye on where I need to be over there. And I'm always orienting myself. Never ever just go sideways for no reason. That's the way to get lost. But if you have to go around something, and we all do, you keep focusing on God. You keep focusing on the prize. And it can be even possibly an enjoyable walk around that most painful obstacle. So, let's give it a try. Our big obstacle standing in our way, but our hike's not over. A lot of you watching have got big obstacles in your way, in life. And it's discouraging, and it is not what you planned. But life's not over yet. We haven't reached our goal yet, so we've got to keep going. We're at the foot of our obstacle, this great big lake, but do you remember we were talking about the fact that you can and you should look and enjoy the good things around? Well, even at our obstacle, even at our obstacles of life, there's still some good things that can be seen there. If you look right down here, there's a robin's nest. In the midst of our obstacle, in the midst of our crisis, there's some good stuff there still. If we look, there's some life still, even in the midst of really hard times. Well, and so I have made it around my obstacle, my crisis, my problem in life, and made it successfully. I know now, again, I've oriented myself. This is the direction we need to go. It was not what I planned, just like life. It's not what you planned. It's not what I planned, but we made our way around it. So the only thing left to do is keep going. So let's keep going. Oh, and wouldn't you know it, as soon as you get done one crisis, when you keep going, it's a hill. You got to go up the next hill. But that's what makes hiking fun. That's what makes life interesting. And it creates character as well. So let's go. Well, you've been at church now for about an hour, and I have been on my hike, on my journey all day. The sun is setting. We've just about arrived at the goal, and we've been, of course, talking about our summer search for God, and this has all been about navigating your life. Of course, we've talked about really getting ready, choosing that goal, keeping your eyes on it. Colossians chapter 3, we talked about the fact that you have to get ready, wear repellent sometimes, and make sure that the devil is repelled by you and you're not tempted by those kind of things. We talked about the fact that there's different trails that look attractive to us in life, but Jesus says, no, stay on that narrow trail. It's worth it. We talked about the fact that we're supposed to really enjoy our journey, enjoy the hike and all the things that we get to see along the way. We talked about the fact that we come up against obstacles. All of us do. And we may have to go around them. That's okay, because there's character in it for us. And even through our tears, God is always there. And now we talk about arriving where we wanted to arrive at. Of course, for me today, it's this beautiful view and the sun is setting. It's just a wonderful day and a wonderful hike and a wonderful journey. I hope you've had a good time, but we're not quite done, because the goal, is really what it's all about. And there is one more scripture that I'd love to read to you. Of course, the goal when it comes to being a follower of Jesus Christ is really heaven. There's a lot of amazing things that happen in our journey along the way. There's a lot of amazing people that we get to meet. And there's a lot of people who become our dear friends and who are, of course, loved by us along the way. But what is really all about is loving the Lord with all of our heart. And the anticipation of getting to that place, to that goal, is the most exciting. Don't you realize that in a race, everyone runs, but only one person gets the prize? So, run to win. All athletes are disciplined in their training. They do it to win a prize that will fade away, but we do it for, here it is, an eternal prize. So, I run with purpose in my every step. I'm not shadow boxing. I discipline my body like an athlete, training it to do what it should. Otherwise, I fear that after preaching to others, I myself might be disqualified. The prize for us, the goal for us, in orienteering and going through life, is to make it. Remember at the start, we pulled out the map, we pulled out the compass, we figured out where we are, and we figured out where we want to go. It took us a whole day to get here. Your life takes a lot longer than one day. Can I encourage you with this? The goal of being with God at the end of your days is more magnificent, more exciting than most of us even realize right now. The God of heaven and earth longs and has arranged everything in your life to be able to be with Him for eternity, literally in bliss. It's called heaven. It's actually where you belong. And in fact, it's what you were made and created for. And so in all the things that are going on in your life, and all the things that are happening in the midst of your hike right now, in the midst of your orienteering and your journey right now, some are hard, some are easy, some are rewarding, some are very difficult, but just make sure that you decide right now the prize, the goal, the place that I'm walking towards, I will arrive there. I will achieve it. And as Paul says, I don't want to get disqualified for this one. It's what it's all about. Heaven cannot be adequately described to you and I. We just can't understand it. There are attempts made. John, through the Holy Spirit in the book of Revelation, makes this unbelievable attempt to describe what your goal and my goal is going to be like someday. It's like this most amazing city that he can't even put it into words. It's walled. That means it's safe. Well, I'll tell you, in the world we live in today, sometimes we feel anything but safe. But this place, absolute safety and beauty beyond description. The gates are made of pearls, but they're not quite pearls. The streets are like glass, but they're not really glass. And this, John tries to put to words the most expensive, luxurious, beautiful things that we can think of. And he says, look, that's where you're going, but it's even better than that. Can you imagine? And then he starts to talk about in our hearts what will start happening. This unbelievable joy, this never-ending fulfillment, this idea that there will be no pain there, no more tears. Look, I know what it's like to live in the world we do right now. It's an amazing life. We have more stuff and more good things than any humans have ever had before. But we have this one thing in common with everyone who's ever lived. We all know we lack something. We all know we're broken in some way. God has come to fix that brokenness. And God says to us, you gotta come home. Even if it takes all day for you to hike, you got to make it to the goal. Even if it takes all the years of your life, promise yourself this. And now promise God this. You're going to make it to your goal. You're going to make it home. I promise you I will. Why don't you make sure you come with? Thanks for going on a hike with me today. We made it to our goal. Let's make it to the big one.